And we're probably on the recording now. Okay. Thanks for joining in again, and by that I mean you guys. So today we're doing character picking philosophies, when, why, for what purpose, or anything that has to do with that topic. And a reason that we're not doing the projectiles topic today is simply that Ezreal can't make it, and said that in advance. So we'll do that next month. Okay. So yeah, people pick characters for various reasons. It's probably most interesting if we talk about why we pick characters. So I guess I'll just start by going around and asking people. So I guess this time I'll start with Vic, since usually I start with the other two normally. What were your first picks of characters in games, if you remember them, and why did you pick them?
First pick. Well, in Brawl it was Zero Suit Samus, then Peach. And yeah, later on it was first fighting game, like 2D fighting game, was Chun-Li, Morrigan, Viper. So very early I was a waifu fighter.
I see. And I guess that was the primary motivation there, like aesthetic. Yeah. Tough girls, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Though I guess if I have to go way back, when even when I was just doing casual stuff, I picked Voldo. Not really waifu, but
no. Yeah. That's a nightmare zone of waifu material. Okay, I see. I guess that's sort of it for that. So
yeah, it's a bit later that I will like add mechanics into it, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that too, just to get like a brief thing how people started out.
Yep.
God Kaiser, how about you next? If you're there.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, back in the days when we only had Street Fighter 2 to play, I only played Chun-Li and Ken because my brain couldn't figure out anything with the other guys. I mean, okay, Ryu. So, and later on, when I got super into it and picked it up again, I don't know. I mostly go for aesthetics. But I mean, on the other side, I really like characters with knives and swords, right? But I also really like playing kind of offensive, and most of the time, characters with knife are rushed on anyway, so that's for each.
Yeah, makes sense. Goes hand in hand. And I guess, like, depending on which Street Fighter 2 you played, I guess Ken just isn't rushed down in Street Fighter 2, not more than
No, I meant
Chun-Li sort of
and Ken, because with those characters I at least could do moves.
Yeah.
As a child, it's only because I played basically Ken because I could do at least Fireball and Tatsu, and I played Chun-Li because I knew how to mash kick buttons.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Chun-Li Honda Blanca front of I hit the button. Yeah,
exactly. But it was more like, oh, I play this characters because I don't really know what to do in this game because I was a child, and not really because I wanted to play them.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense. I mean, like Tim's not here, but like he said, like the last few times when this came up, he picked those characters because he picked charge characters because he couldn't do motions.
Yeah.
So sort of a similar reason. Okay, Andela, how about you?
Well, the first thing I played a bit more was also Smash. So it's like in Brawl, I picked characters because I thought they were cool, and then tried to get better with them. But that changed quickly when I went to a more competitive approach of the games. I tried picking things that were just good, but I ended up not having as much fun. So at least in the platform fighter, I stuck with just what I liked, which was Wolf, because I don't know, I like cool dude characters apparently, because I always have a problem picking girls, even if I wanna. But the first 2D fighter I played a bit more was Denki Kipunko Fighting Climax, since it was an anime fighter thing where you had a bunch of animes, I also just played characters I knew or found cool from the anime. But when I tried to like get good at the game, I picked Kirito, who's a super explosive character, and that's when I noticed that like the super explosive playstyle is really fun because just burning all your resources in one flashy shiny combo or doing a bunch of pressure in a row with like the with spending all your stuff is really fun. And since that day, I just kind of like I try to find characters like that, but since I usually have a hard time maining anyone, it's not restricted to just being cool and flashy. It just
Mm-hmm.
ends up I start with like easier characters and then I just play everything after a while. It's a problem.
Okay. Oh, I guess that leaves myself. Yeah, I mean, people know what I picked, I guess. Ryu and Blanca. Initially, because Street Fighter 2, right? I really just picked Ryu because he was player 1 and sort of normalish. I mean, he was a martial arts guy. There's nothing wrong with Ryu. There's nothing too right with him either. But that just was kind of like a character you could always pick. Especially when you couldn't mirror match. But Blanca, who was like I think the actual first pick that I sort of made where I thought about it is just aesthetic. Like back in the day, I just liked monsters, so I played monsters or big bad night guys where the face is obscured. Anything inhuman, basically. But yeah, so also purely aesthetic. Like charges didn't have anything to do with it, even though I was bad at motions initially. I just forced it until I could do it. So I didn't really think about charge or not charge or anything like that. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of how we've. So I guess most of us just like did the aesthetic route of starting off with picking what we like, and then only later changed that. Now Andela already got into the thing on how do we do that nowadays, right? And I suppose that's pretty different. When you're starting out with fighting games, mostly you'll pick things that are either, I guess none of us did that, sort of the recommended character, right? Use this one because it's good for beginners. Or you just pick whatever is visually pleasing. So I guess like Vic, you said like nowadays you do things pretty differently, other than also still just picking women. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's not that different. It's just like I won't force myself to play a character I don't like, even if they're cute. So I still need like some really specific in the gameplay to have fun overall. If you don't have fun with the character, like I don't know, you don't stick with the game generally.
I see. But what sorts of things make characters fun for you? Like, why would you pick them? Is it like a certain
A lot of
move or?
things. Yeah, it's certain moves, certain like stuff you can do like execution wise or like just game plan. I do like generally having some good mobility and good range, having like a projectile that stay on screen forever, and something that allow me to force the opponent to block and not just like mash or do something like that. If it has like not I'm not a big execution guy, but I still like having some challenge. So something that I have to think and do is always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Though you already said it a little bit, you had anything to add to what you said before, God Kaiser? Like how you play things now? I mean, you said later on you pick mostly aggressive characters.
Yeah, I try to play mostly offensive characters because gameplay-wise, it's the most fun for me. Like having good mix-ups in the characters fun for me because then I can force people to do some stuff other than just crouch blocking.
Yeah.
Like having a good overhead or something like that's always nice. I don't know, projectiles I don't care that much about. It's nice to have a projectile that can help you approach and stuff like that, but I don't need something that goes full screen to sound people out or something like that. I don't know. I mostly like to be in my opponent's face.
Mm-hmm.
And if the character has some cool combos, that's nice too, because I like to do some flashy combos now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because I have kind of like Devil May Cry background, and those games are all about style. Doing some stylish stuff is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to cycle to Andele, but Andele sort of already explained this, or is but I guess with you I can ask more like what did you do more recently that you've noticed when picking characters? I mean, you're the guy that picks the most characters around here, right? Like before we started the recording session, you were I said something like everybody likes picking characters, and you laughed at that because most of us here stick with like a small amount, and you pick kind of everyone.
Yeah, that's like kind of a bane, or this is a blessing and a bane, because like usually when I go about picking a character, first of all, like in the beginning, I still like look at people and pick who I think is cool. But my problem is when I see some other character do something cool, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And then I tried learning that character as well for a while, and that just kind of cycles through to trying out other characters and seeing what cool shit they can do. And after a bit, I like, just play everyone. Usually, it starts out with like more simple characters, so I can get into the game and understand the mechanics. Like I don't know, in Multi Blood Melty, when I tried to like really get into it, I played a lot of Rice Beef, who's a not very complicated character, because I just do the stabby stabs and that gets me 3k damage for nothing. Um, but then later on, I tried learning like half the cast again, and I look at stuff, and I just want to. I don't know. I want to just do everything. That's why I have a problem picking one character, and just end up playing everyone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. With myself, I guess. Like I basically had like 2 phases after the monster phase, let's call it, because I had like a 15-year break in between playing fighting games, right? And then when I picked it up again, I just first I picked like funny stuff, like Peacock. Then I ended up picking like a lot of stuff that was also cute in some way. So I ended up playing like a lot of lollies and stuff like that. What I also actually liked picking for a while was like rough, strong, big old men. But that's not an archetype you find too often, which is why I ended up with way more like cutesy girl characters and stuff like that, just because I don't know, I was born 82. My idea of what makes a cool main character is very different to how it is nowadays. So when I look at people like Ragnar, the Blood Main, I'm like, look at this girl boy. And then I don't want to play that. I want to play Kenshiro. Just, it's like not good enough, or just like an old man, right? So if you have like an old secret agent or something like that, I'd play that. Like from King of Fighters, what's his name? The guy that Leona's dad, Hydern. Yeah, Hydern's cool. That sort of character. But nowadays it's very gameplay dependent as well. Like I try to pick characters where I feel like I can learn something about fighting games that I don't currently know, and I try to stick it out long enough to really get the idea. So when like a new fighting game comes out, I I try to pick someone in the cast that I don't hate and does something cool. Or not cool, something I don't know about, which is why like I'm trying to pick more rush down aggressive characters at the moment, just because I feel like that's a skill that I'm lacking. Okay, so I think like overall we've kind of gotten our philosophies straight. Like you can pick things for like your specific chosen playstyle, which is more like God Kaiser's route in life, right? Go for like aggressive offensive things usually. You can go and pick just things you like, or pick everything to try out everything. You can try to learn new things. We kind of got like everything that people sort of do. Before we move on to like the more technical and maybe interesting mind gaming aspects of how this evolves, do you have any stories about anyone who picked a character where you got the reason, like they told you the reason of it, and it was just something really strange? Because that's usually funny. Like if anyone can recall something, just say, "Oh yeah, there was this guy."
Nope.
Mandela, you unmuted yourself?
I'm like thinking because the only reasons I know of my friend picking things, my friend who I play Smash with, he had like the reason. When we played back in the day in like Smash 4, I kept fighting against him a lot, and he was always like, "Oh, I want to play him, but he looks so complicated. Oh, it's so hard to play." I was telling him every time that this guy's just you run up and you grab and you do nothing else, but he was scared to try it. Like he's scared to try new stuff. He never plays more than like 2 characters in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And after I forced him basically to pick him up and play him some, he was suddenly in love with the character because this new thing that he's never done before worked so well and was so much fun to him that afterwards he played nothing else. He only played Captain Falcon, even though beforehand he was like, I don't want to grab, that's so scary. It's the only thing I have that's like remotely.
Yeah,
like
I can emphasize with that. I limit myself more in what I learn because I'm afraid of information overload while playing. Yeah, I had I had something that was related to that, but sort of forgot about it right now. Vic, did you have something?
No, I mean except like the Luffy anecdote.
Yeah, that was actually the one I was thinking of. You go ahead.
I mean, it's simple. Like you say that the reason why he picked Rose in Twitter 4 is just because she had big boobs, and that's it. And he liked the character and continued to play with it.
Yeah.
I think he won his first tournament like that, so he was pretty hype and continued.
Yeah. I guess the particularly funny thing about that is that reason wasn't that well known until after he won Evo out of quote unquote nowhere with this character that nobody really gave enough credit at the time. So it was just funny, like, oh, so you really thought you had this game plan that nobody else had? Nah, man, she just had big tits. It's just kind of how that is. I feel like that's with character specialists, right? That's like a thing often, no? It's I mean, of course, like Germany is like now they're a little stronger as a region than they used to be, but they used to be like a pretty weak region, no? I mean, Europe's overall good, but Germany is kind of like not that great, right? But we do play like a lot of Exard over here, right? And I remember this live stream where it was like, oh, cool, a Japanese player came. He plays Potemkin. Not a single person took anything off of him. He was in that seat. It was just a stream of a casual station. I forget the guy's name, but it's the Japanese Potemkin player. MOV, I think? No, that's somebody else, right? Yes, FAB, yeah. So he just sat there and destroyed everyone entirely. And this was Sign. So not like a Revelator where he has these 100% combos, right? Just Yeah. So I think, but I'm pretty sure like Fab just plays Potemkin because he likes Potemkin and plays Potemkin every game, no matter how good or bad Potemkin is, right? So it's one of these like people that really don't get noticed too much in tournaments until later in a game's lifespan, or if the series is really old, like Guilty Gear. Somebody had something to add, or I'd use that as a segue. Okay. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So so segue style, I'll wrap that a little up. So yeah, character specialists exist. None of us here are that, so it's a little hard for us to get exactly why people stick with just one character forever. But we've gotten like plenty of reasons in why people might do that. Now there's other situations where character selection plays a role. The way we've been talking about it, it's like long-term choices, right? I want to play this game for a while, which for fighting gamers means several months of putting in time, right? At the very least. But those are long-term things. Sometimes you have to make character select choices for different reasons, right? So, for example, there's the mystery tournaments, for example, or mystery tournament-like situations. You know, it's you're with a couple of friends and they're like, "Hey, you're good at fighting games, right? Beat this guy. I hate him." It happens. There's arcades with timers where you don't have like a lot of time. And there's just character switch techniques in general. So I guess since that's like pretty broad what I just said, let's start off a little bit with how do you guys think one should approach, or what do you think are interesting ways to approach selecting characters when you don't have a lot of time? Like you're put in front of a game, you don't really have a lot of information. There's a character select timer going 9, 8, 7. What do you do? Because I think that it'll say something about everyone's personality. Let's start with Andela this time, since he picks so many characters.
Usually when situations like that, it's like I just look through the roster and I'm like, okay, this guy looks like a big dude. I bet he hits hard. I'ma just play this because then I don't have to know any combos to do well. I just press the one button and it should do more damage than other people's one button. And then I just try to go with that. So usually in situations like that, I personally go with big guys because they're most of the time like not easier to get into the game with, but you're rewarded for less work in the beginning at least.
I can see that working.
How I approach those situations.
Yeah. God Kaiser?
In situations like that where I don't know much about the game, like I'm talking about, we had a situation where we played some Fatal Fury as mystery game, and then it's like, oh, you can scan the roster and you have like some familiar faces in that, right?
Yeah.
And that makes it easier. But if you have something you like don't know at all, I don't know. I mostly go just for the basic pitch and do some like shoot fireball and uppercut.
Yeah.
And just sweep you, right?
Yes. Super Nintendo tactics. Just I picked
exactly.
Ryu.
It just became super basic, and that's it. Like,
yeah, I see. Yeah.
But if there's somebody I can recognize, it's mostly okay. Let me go for that and see if he has some of the moves he has later on or before that.
Yeah. Okay. Vic, how about you?
I pick the waifu.
Right.
I don't know shit, I pick the waifu, and then I see what it's about.
You actually do that. Wow. Thinking back on the matches where you had to do this, you did pick the waifu.
Well,
and if there wasn't a waifu, then you picked the most fabulous guy there was.
yeah, that happens too. You know, like I guess if I want to win, I try to look for a more powerful character, but generally I don't care that much, so I picked really the waifu first.
Yeah, because I remember
Just-
this. Sorry, please conclude. Yeah.
No, it's just like I
Okay.
just switch if I really want to counter pick or like if she's not good at all. I don't
Yeah.
find anything.
I see. Yeah, it's just like anecdotally, there was this Dragon Ball match that you and Ezreal had, right? And like the reason you didn't pick 18 is because you didn't notice her on the roster, right? From the character select pick, I think at the time you said it's just another Saiyan, and you didn't. That's why you didn't pick her. But the character you did pick was definitely like in the Dragon Ball roster, not the strongest guy. Was some devil dude. Like who's?
I forgot who I picked.
Oh,
like-
I think you picked Dabura.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Exactly.
It's the guy from it's that minion from Bibbidi Babbidi,
Yes.
the magic dude
Bibbidi.
that revives Boo.
Yes.
And Dabura is that devil dude that spits and his spit turns people into stone.
Did I pick this guy second? Because I thought he might maybe like good. I just
Yeah,
go through of
yeah, I think you did. But yeah, you got murdered. But you didn't pick Goku there, right? So,
Well, yeah, no.
cause I don't know if it's a Dragon Ball game that's old. I'm going to pick the most powerful character in the series because maybe the game's balanced that way. But yeah. So anyway, the way I do it, I guess, is not too different to you guys' approaches. Like, but I do know like a lot of fighting games, right? And when I don't know the fighting game, I often at least know the design studio. So there's some things that I usually know going in. So a completely like no idea scenario for me is kind of difficult, but does happen. And then it's like, if I can't make out any sense in the character select screen, usually because it's an IP game, like here's 10 Gundams. I don't know anything about Gundams. They all look the same to me. Then I'll play it safe, like Godkaiser, pick player 1 or player 2, because at least I'll know a move. But other than that, like I fly through the game, through the characters. If I think if I get the impression that this game is going to be easy to play, then I'll pick something that has good normals. If it looks like it might be a charge character or a grappler or a big heavy dude like Andela said. But if I see my opponent immediately going for a choice, no? Either because they're people that play it safe, and they usually do this within 3 to 4 seconds, right? So you still have 5 seconds to think about it. And I think I have like a better idea of the cast than he does, then sometimes I'll pick something that I think counterpicks the archetype, right? Just because on the off chance that might work.
That's a lot more thought than I thought anyone would put into this. Into that specific decision.
Yeah.
If he locks in within 3 seconds, then I know.
Well, no, it's not because of him being fast about his decision. It's just that I also need time to think. So if he takes like 8 seconds to just select Ryu, I can't react to that. That's what I mean, basically. But if he gives me like a lot of time, because he's like looks at the screen and then just it goes to player 2, goes back to player 1 and hits start. Then I have like a lot of time to just go around, because he's locked in now, so that's my free time. So I'll just see if there's like something better to pick. It also, to use this as a segue to counter picking, in a mystery situation that's more than a first to one, no, where you can actually pick when you lose. If you see your opponent's character, you get to see what they do. If they happen to look really good, then in worst case scenario, you can then pick their character next turn. Of course, there's the problem of they got to play it around longer than you. But if it's like a player 1 character, how hard it's gonna be to play. Like, so in those situations, I don't worry about that, and I sometimes go for something different just to, if it looks like it'll give me like an advantage over someone who's just going to try to do Hadouken and Shoryuken. Because then I'm counterpicking the game plan of the guy, right? Like, I don't have to know the character that well necessarily. So yeah, there's counterpicking. So how do you guys approach counterpicks? And let's start with Vic this time.
Control picks?
Yes.
Thing
Any
is,
situation.
I don't control pick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really like when I don't know shit about it. Like I think I like in tournament I control picked only in the Dragon Ball games that
Double
you were
Dragon.
talking about.
In Double Dragon, you've counterpicked.
I guess so, because I don't really have like main character in this game.
Yeah. To be fair, all of the ones that play this game seem to have more than one character a lot of times, right?
As there is not we are not doing long combo, we're not doing execution thing, so everyone can do to it with any character. That's good enough.
Yeah, but yeah, in games like Double Dragon, why did you counterpick, or do you? If you know.
Well, it just also because I changed the main character I was playing at the time. Okay, I did start more with Zabobo, then I try another thing that I completely forgot who it is.
That Jamaican looking fella, Eddie.
Yes,
right?
there we go.
Yeah.
Eddie or whatever. This guy is cool, but you have to be on point. So when you haven't played in a long time and suddenly you are in a tournament, you might want to just go to Abobo, because Abobo you don't need preparation. You just need to mash like Tomahawk, and you get a hit, you get a stun, and you win.
Yeah. You also played the Tonfa girl.
Yeah, that was supposed to be my main at first, but she's boring. So
yeah, works really well against a Bobo. At least we thought until Mark destroyed you with his "I'll just do the stupidest thing ever" playstyle, which I guess that worked in that situation.
Yeah, that's more like him more than the matchup.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, it's just like after some time, can you adapt or not? I guess I wasn't at the time.
Yeah, you only had one match to do it, to be fair. So, yeah. I see. Okay. Godkaiser, how about you? Though I don't even remember you counterpicking at any point in time.
Not really, no. I mostly stick to just one character in games, or like one team, or stuff like that. When I found something, right, then I stick with it. And, I mean, sometimes in tournaments, if I have like a second or third character, which happens if I play a game long enough, then sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe before I get thrown out of the tournament, let me try this other character, maybe it works better for this situation. But otherwise, I don't really, like, I'm not sitting there and be like, oh, he plays this character, now I'm gonna pick this one because it's perfect counter pick, even though I never play it. Because in my brain it's stupid to do that. Because then it's like, I don't know, my chances are better with the character I understand, even though it's maybe not as easy of a matchup as if I would pick something else. Just a lack of knowledge about the other character, right? It's like more of a handicap than I actually have in that situation.
No, I actually do think there's that makes sense, because the thing is that like a matchup isn't just this character versus this character, right? It's player A using this character versus player B using this character. So something you see even like pros do a lot is that they'll fall back on a character that they themselves know really well. Can be like for confidence boost reasons, like they just want to play good. Or they'll pick a character where they think that the other guy can't really deal with your particular way of playing that character, right? Those kinds of picks totally happen. You see this especially with people that in their games are like multi-character experts, right? Sonic Fox or Infiltration in Street Fighter 4 did this a lot. Like he just picked characters for situations where people were like, why would this be a good matchup wise? But then it works out, right? Because the reason that they're picking it isn't necessarily just because of the character matchup. And the fallback thing too, like in MKX, Sonic Fox would often bring like a character that he trained up to the table, but then in grand finals of a big tournament, he'd often just switch back to the cowboy. What's his name again? Aaron Black,
Yeah.
right? Even though like meta-wise, he didn't use the quote-unquote best variation of Aaron Black, but he used the one that fit his playstyle, and he played Aaron Black a lot. So that there was like a lot of tournaments that he won just by switching back to Aaron Black, because, well, he played that character a lot, right? He can do the Aaron Black things with him. So those can be reasons for switching. So I can see how that works out, you know. Just sticking like with something you know better. Andele, how about you?
Thing is like when I play a lot with the same people because I'm too lazy to turn tournaments a lot of times, and if you have a counter pick against a person you play with a lot that works, kind of gets a bit boring, because if they can't deal with it and you're like just stomping them into the ground, it's not really fun. For example, my friend plays in Smash. He plays like sometimes Mac or something. And when I get too fed up because I'm playing against him is really boring if you want to play it right, then I just pick Donkey Kong, and I'm not gonna explain why, but that really just wrecks him because he has no idea how the fuck to deal with that. And matches are like over in 2 minutes. And it's not fun for either of us. So counter picking is always like in tournament settings, if you know the characters well enough, I can really understand it. But in friendly settings, counter picking is kind of a dick move if you do it on purpose. Boy, stop. Why? We want to play. I don't want to just lose because you picked a character that's good against mine. It has nothing to do with what we want to do in friendlies. Yeah, you can practice like bad matchups like that, but there's something different again than just counterpicking in friendlies. But I don't think there are many people that actually do counterpick in friendlies. That would be really weird.
Yeah, I don't think that happens a lot. Like if they're just casuals, right? Like I mean, if we're talking, because you said you play against mostly the same people. I mean, it's sort of true of everyone here to some degree, right? But we do have like tournament situations, right?
Yep.
Now what you said, I think that's still like a valid point, right? Like there's an ethical dimension to this. If you pick a character where you know like the other guy will lose because I picked this character, this is no longer a contest because he just can't deal with it, then that there may be something to that. Now I know that from the other side, by which I mean there's a character in one of my favorite fighting games, Nitro Plus Blasters, that at least when Vic plays her, I can't deal with her. But I felt extremely guilty making Vic not play his main character, because I couldn't deal with her to the point of being like traumatized, right? Like I can't do anything in the game or press buttons because I don't know, when this character comes out, I just get like a black wall in front of my face and just don't know what's going on. but like it feels bad to ask Vic not to play something. It's just yeah. And
I got used to it, and I did have multiple character at the end of the thing, I guess.
yes, that's true, and at least that means that we got to play the game. But like, it's I mean, that's nothing you can do something about, right? It just feels bad for me to force this sort of situation to leave. Like, yeah, because I mean, like the only other consequence of that would have been I just couldn't have played, right? And we wouldn't have played NPB anymore. But yeah. So yeah, like I can see how counterpicking can also be seen as something that could be done in friendlies, but then someone's being an asshole for some reason, I guess. Or like the other side where someone's just like kind of feeling like an asshole because he's like, I don't want to play against character X. I mean, that's not how I went about it, but you know, that would be like the negative version of that, right? Pick somebody else. And just yeah. But tournament wise, like I think on daily you actually didn't address that.
Oh, you mean if I counterpicked in tournament or something?
Yeah. Why, how, or maybe a situation where you remember anything like that.
I guess just that one Melty tournament where I trained Rice before count. Before I didn't really know how to play anyone but Aoko, because it was just like I do Aoko things, I guess. And then I trained up Rice before a tournament because I wanted to play someone else, and everything else wasn't working since I didn't put that much time into Melty. And I guess that was a counter pick without me knowing, because Vic's main combo doesn't work on her. So I just took way less damage for every hit he got in, and he wasn't used to the pressure that Rice Beef does, where she has like this jumping kick that doesn't give you. You have to block it in a certain way, otherwise you're plus. And no one was used to that because I've never played her before. Anyone really in our group has played her before. Does that count as a counter pick, or is just a like coincidental luck?
If your reasoning for having played the character was nobody knows how to deal with this, it would have been a counter pick. You got lucky with the combo though. There was no way for you to have known that.
Yeah, I guess it was more that than a counter pick, but that's like the closest I got to counter picks. Because I think when I played Smash on a tournament, like the few tournaments I went to, I swapped characters against some characters I wasn't as comfortable against, but it wasn't. It was more like you said before with pro players. It was because I wasn't comfortable with like trying out my new character in a tournament against certain characters. So instead, I just went to what I know, so I'm more comfortable just in my seat. Even the matchup was worse, I had more control over my character, so that I was just more comfortable in the play in the game.
Yeah, I see. Okay. As for myself, I tend not to counterpick, right? Tend to. If there's a game that I play a lot and I feel like I have a huge problem, then I'll build up a character for that sort of thing. Now, I can think of two situations where this happened. Nitro plus Blasters, every tournament. For obvious reasons, like there was nothing that I thought I could do against Saber, so I thought if I train up a character that's both has options to deal with Saber and that Vic doesn't know very well, maybe I'd have a chance. That didn't work. I picked a zoning character, Al, or however you want to say her, but I mean correct pronunciation would be Al, since it's Al Atzif, the Necronomicon. And like it's just because I have good zoning skills, right? Like if you give me a zoner, then I know what to do. So I thought maybe that would help. Yeah, Vic got the Son of Tunes 9 traumatized once more gif that he made out in the chat. But
very nice gift, may I add?
Yeah, I thought it was super funny too. Like, even though I'm the person that happened to, just it's great. The other tournament was similar to what Andele said actually in Melty. The first Melty tournament actually prepared 2 days beforehand. Brunstut, what's her first name? Aquaid. Just because I'm not good at execution. Still, my main character in Melty is C Satsuki, who's an execution heavy character. But like at the time, I didn't feel like I could confidently win any kind of match with her. So I was like, okay, I'll just get Alquaid. And while that did help, the reality of the situation is still that I beat up everyone with Jumping C, and the people that I couldn't beat up with Jumping C were the people that made it into Grand Finals, and against them I got 3-0'd. I won some. I did play Arcade against them, but and I did win rounds. Like some of them weren't. Some of them were close, but still, like I don't know. But it was like a character who could just run in and do the standard ABC launcher, BC grab, right? So which say Satsuki, I mean like C Satsuki can't do. Other than that, I'm just not normally in a situation where I can counterpick. Like in NPB, the counterpicks that I prepared for Wick did end up being good counterpicks for a lot of people. Like I think in one of the Nitro Plus Blasters tournaments, I actually did pick like 3 different characters against 3 different people or something like that, just because I thought it would work better against them. And I did win those matches, so in some sense that made me look cool, I guess. Now in hindsight, I guess it helped with something to fail with all of those characters. But other than that, I really want the comfort that I know my character really well. Like not just to the degree what's the game plan, do I have experience with it. I want to know. I want to be able to, in a split second, press a button that puts a hitbox in a certain location where the opponent goes, and that's just not like a kind of feeling that you can build up that quickly, and it takes like a lot of time. So usually I just stick to one character that I know. Because I mean, I just even just like physics things, knowing that I can steal the corner in a certain situation, like just any advantage that goes in that direction, because my combos usually suck in games and execution ain't that great, so I have to make everything in neutral count. So if I don't know my neutral perfectly, then I don't feel comfortable. So that's why I usually don't character switch. Yeah. That was rather long. I apologize. Okay, let's see. We had character switching, character select under pressure. We had pretty much any kind of specific reason for why to pick a character. Are there, and I guess like to wrap up, I think this is an okay question because I don't think a lot of us will have a lot to say about it. Are there deal breakers for you? Like, is there something that a character can have where if you see that, like not overall weakness, just like, I don't know, a tool or an aesthetic thing, just something that the character has, right? Where you're like, no way am I playing that. And I guess we'll start with God Kaiser.
Super annoying voice lines, probably.
I see.
Stupid animations. Like, that's my problem with like Mortal Kombat X and Injustice and stuff like that, because it just looks stupid. And then it's like, yeah, I'm out.
I see.
Yeah, and voice lines or like super annoying voices can be a problem too, right? They have like move.
Yeah.
Where a character goes. I think a lot of people had that problem with Jam in Guilty Gear Xrd. They're like, oh, her voice is super annoying.
But she's great.
Yeah, I don't mind
She
it
is great.
that much either, but I guess that can be a deal breaker. And of course, the character shouldn't be trash. If he's trash tier, why should I play it, right?
I guess
No
so,
character
yeah.
loyalty.
Yeah. I guess that works counter pick wise too, right? If you really want to annoy Pfumfen in Guilty Gear, pick May. He hates her voice super hard. Like he just can't stand
He
hearing
has
it.
Axel, so you need to know the matchup.
Yeah, of course, that's true. Yeah. Andele, how about you?
I just like I usually play everything, but even then it's like was it stuff foo or like when characters just use all assortments of random ass shit as fighting things. I really dislike that. Or if they're like super like this super out of the ordinary weird, like Mr. Game and Watch and Smash or Pac-Man. I really like those two because they just throw out random ass shit as hitboxes. Like some games, you have these characters that also just throw stuff, different kinds of weird stuff
Faust,
that they
right?
fight. Faust is like Faust is like a bit. He has like one move where he throws things, I think.
Yeah.
But usually, stuff like that just really annoys me. I don't like it. It's like, I don't. No, stop.
I
I don't
see.
know. Just I really hate that. And if like characters are like full zoners, I'm usually not that big of a fan. I play them like a few times to have a bit of a giggle, but but just keeping the enemy at base. Not what I want in a fighting game. I want to fight people, not just shoot people.
I see. Vic?
I don't
Being a
know. If
dude.
the character is boring and has nothing to do, I will just stop playing her.
I see. So basically
Okay.
just the reverse of what you like.
Yeah.
No, I mean
Exactly.
that's fair. For some people
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just that, right? Like you there's often not an additional deal breaker happens. Like
Deal breaker, like as I think God Kessel say, like for the animation, but that's Mortal Kombat overall.
yeah, that's not
just one
picking a
character.
game.
Yep.
That's I mean none of us are just going to start maining I don't know random torture porn hentai fighter because of the content, right? That game might play well, but we're not gonna main it.
Yeah.
Just yeah, there's of course stuff like that, but that's not what I mean because that's too extreme. But animations is fair. I guess for me it's also like I yeah, like either it's a character that where I've played the archetype too often. If I pick my 6th grappler in a row, I start feeling bad. So sometimes, even though I really like the character aesthetically, I try to find something good about somebody else in the cast and play them. But like other than that, which is just like the reverse of the other thing, right? If I can't learn something new, I don't want to. I guess there are characters that if they're like if they seem to be like super hardcore their archetype and that archetype happens to be Shoto, then I kind of don't like it. I've not had this with other archetypes like oh, he's just rushdown. That usually doesn't bother me if it's just rushdown or if it's just grappler or just zoner. Though I've seen boring zoners, but that's like more specific characters. But like really just the most straight up Shoryuken Tatsu fireball and nothing else, I'm out of there really fast. I don't know. It's like a game plan that I understand but just don't care about. So I just really don't like sticking with those. Which made it really hard when I wanted to main a Shoto to find one. But hey, there was Akatsuki and he looks really cool and has power moves where he punches people across the screen, so no problem. And he had a parry. Well, I guess everybody in this game had a parry, but I played him in Unist. I mean, Unia. So yeah, I guess I don't really have a deal breaker criterion, other than like the big ones, like you guys said, right? Like there's just like games that aren't as appealing. I guess I have an anecdote. I really didn't like Double Dragon first time I played it. I didn't feel like there was anything for me to do. I picked a Bobo. But when everybody started playing the game, and I looked into it a bit more, I started enjoying playing the game. And I didn't have a problem with the Bobo. Now that's not really the same thing, but what I'm trying to say is with characters and with games, I can also start to like it if other people that are playing with me are enjoying themselves, right? Like I find it easy to start to get into a game because other people are into it, no? Like for example,
Power Rangers maybe?
Yes, exactly. Power Rangers is a good example. Marvel is not, for the only reason that I don't have a problem getting into the game, but I don't really understand my team that well. Well, Ghost Rider mostly. But yeah, Power Rangers is one of those things where I actively disliked Power Rangers. Everybody in my team isn't really a Power Ranger, except for that girl, but I only like her dark colors. It makes her look like a villain, I don't know. But people enjoy the game, and I generally find fighting games interesting, so it's like I don't have trouble getting into the game. Yeah, like that sort of thing. And if there's not a character that I could find in a game that is interesting, then I wouldn't have trouble just picking some characters and making them work if people are enjoying the game. Like that was the overall point, I guess. So you can learn to like things. I don't know, that took a little longer, sorry. Okay, anything else anybody wants to add?
Nope.
I think I'm good. The only thing I want to add is I wish I was a character loyalist. Not having anyone you ever want to play is really hard and annoying.
But at least that gives you like a multi-tiered skill set. Because yeah, I mean, the guy that always plays Ryu is just never going to understand why there are these weirdo characters that just stay on the other side and shoot him to death. That's
I guess
yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. Like I'm not sure there's an inherent disadvantage to really not maining a character. Once you get like into tournament stuff, sure. But there it's more like if you want to play multiple characters, you need to at least put in time into one of them. But there are people that can put in time into multiples. So it just depends on how much time it takes you to get like enough time into that character to make him work, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I have the first game where I actually have like halfway the team I want to play. It's like Power Rangers.
We'll see in 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly. That's the problem. The Power Armor Trinity is great, and I want to play her. And it's like I finally have one character where I'm like, I want to play this always.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's a good thing to end it on. Yes. Okay. Good. Then I'll end this recording, and then we can see if we still play something or something. Click.